So without further ado, Jim, go ahead. Introduce yourself and explain what you're doing.
My name is James Miller. I am one of two interns, currently interning at NoMagic from Purdue. The way I was introduced to NoMagic, I hadn't heard of them until this year. I talked to Professor Nikolai asking about an internship, and she directly told me all about them, and I was really interested, because that's one of the main things that I'm interested in is design. What NoMagic really is a problem-solving company. They do label themselves as a UML design, code engineering simulation company.
UML is for those who don't know?
Unified Modeling Language. It's basically, you can take anything, diagram it, and show how it works, basically. There's many different types of models, but depending on your situation, you can map it out. Class view diagrams, any kind of state machine showing the process of something. They're specialized in that kind of area. And what I am going to be presenting to you, I just recently received my brand new laptop from them. Probably, I would say about 2.5 weeks ago. Since that started on this project, I'm only going to be presenting research of what I found about the company. And through the summer, I will be attending the 490 class again to present my final output. So without further ado, what is NoMagic? Well, as I explained, they're a unified modeling language company. They're really a problem-solving company based on what they've presented in their software that is that's called Magic Draw. It essentially goes off of what a user wants to do and maps it out. You have to, like, let's say if you have code of something, let's say that you have just dummy code of anything Java, C#, C++. It'll actually engineer that code, and I'll go further on into this as we go, but it'll actually engineer it and create class view diagrams. From there you can create state machines, so show how a process works, and then map it out and show exactly what's going on at certain times. Slowing down processes and being able to see that really opens a lot of doors for companies. They operate worldwide. They're located all around the world, but they're mainly located in Allen, Texas. That is where I contact my supervisor, Kerry Mills. Their mission statement is twofold, really. It's to create software products showcasing the powerful tools and that are available to engineer programs today, and also providing sourcing services, offering outstanding technical talent of unbeatable prices, really. What is Magic Draw? Magic Draw is their main program that they promote. It's a visual UML, SysML, BPMN, and UPDM modeling tool for team collaboration and support. Like I said, if you were trying to convince a CEO that a specific way of modeling code that may take longer and may cost a little bit more will further down the road be very beneficial, this would be the software you would use. You can easily show this person that doesn't know that much about code how the code will work over time, and even map out every single process of how, depending on how depth you want to go. And also, you could just, instead of just doing hard logical code, designing like a simulation based off that and showing how that code is, you can do hardware. I mean, nothing's really stopping you. I mean, a UML can mean basically anything. You could do hardware, you could do software. Let's say you want to map out two different scenarios. Let's say you want to map out how a tablet works. You could do the software side where it loads RAM, and you can show that through a state machine that'll show the process as the user goes through, which is one of my duties as an intern. I will get to that later. But you could actually map out that whole process. Besides just the software aspect, you could do hardware or software. So if you wanted to do loading RAM, loading operating system into memory, showing exact like boot up procedures and stuff like that, you could do it that way through the use of 3D GUI interface. Like let's say you have an image of a tablet, someone presses the home button, you get all the response of the hardware and it shows it through the state machine. You would use code to simulate that. It wouldn't mean actual, loading operating system, but it's just a simulation of what would happen if the button was pressed. And besides that, you could also do stuff like actual procedures of what would happen on the user side. Like let's say that if the user pressed the button, next the user will have to input a code. If the user inputted the code correctly, display home screen. There's many different ways that you can go with it. It's designed for business analysis, software analysis programmers, engineers. What's really great about it is that it really encompasses every language. I'm not sure of every language, but the ones that are mentioned, I've actually tested out C#, C++, and Java, reverse engineering and generating. So it could generate designs based on the code, or it could generate code based on your UML designs. Like I said, the user can create nearly any form of diagram. It's really a diagramming tool. They have plugins that go along with the software. The one that I'm currently working with is called the Simulation Toolkit. What it allows the user to do is to see the simulation. With the work of your own code or any kind of code, even with samples, I mean you can fool around with samples, that's what I've been doing. You're able to see the process of the code and how it actually goes through, depending on the story you want to tell. They have some samples on here that are relating to flashlights, why when you press the button it turns on and off in the code. They have one that is modeling a 3D representation of a stopwatch that actually the Duncan brothers, when they came here over the semester, they displayed and tried to present. It was a little, at the time, the resolution wasn't correct, so you couldn't see everything that he wanted to display, but I'll try to get to that after all this to try to show you exactly what he meant to show you with the simulation and how that actually maps out. Like I said, reverse engineering with this thing seamlessly. You create a class of language that you want to work with. Then from there, you specify, you place a file in there, and from there you specify whether or not you would like to reverse the code or generate the code. Well, first you have to reverse, because that generates the class diagrams. And from that diagram, if you change any little bit of it, it'll either be modified in the code, or it'll show up in the code, or it will, you can specify whether you want it to show up in the code or not. But if you do, whatever you do to either the code or the model will show up on both ends, live. With the reverse feature, you can create, like I said, any type of diagram from code. Simple clicks will give you more than 10 ways to display your program. Like I said, that's all with the different types of diagramming. And like I said, engineering code will create the diagrams from your code. Or create code from your diagrams, I'm sorry about that. Integration. What I'm currently going to be working with is Eclipse the most. And integration within that is seamless. I actually did this the other day, 2 days ago, just to see how easy it was going to be, because I thought it was going to be a headache. But it turned out to be really easy. It was just one click, and it does everything for you, finds the files, and associates it. Eclipse and NetBeans are the two that I have actually integrated. And what's cool about it is that it just doesn't give you specific options. It actually uploads no magic, or Magic Draw as you upload, or as you open, Eclipse or NetBeans. And they have this specific areas that you could actually integrate with them, but they're loaded in Intergrid. They're both side by side inside, just one application. This is the Cameo Simulation Toolkit. If you look at the state machine down here, this is a simulation of the stopwatch to the right. This is the actual stopwatch that the Duncanson brothers came here and presented. What this does is you can see the green lining. That's everything that's actually went through already once. Red is what's currently being executed, and there should be yellow, what was right before, but this is probably, there was probably a different diagram that shot to this one, that's why it's red. Like our mission as interns, me and David Crook, we are currently designing new samples, just like the one that was presented with the stopwatch simulation. We're focusing on 3D modeling, more like taking a picture of a 3D hardware object and making it functional through code and simulating it and diagramming it so that users are able to simplistically understand the code, and from the samples you'll be able to learn a lot. I mean, the one that I'm going to show you regarding the flashlight has two features that are unique that could be, I mean, you could use these to make any kind of simulation. One's called an image switcher, where you can switch images. It's pretty basic. And then there's another one called tick, where it allows a specific waiting time before executing more code. I'll do that after this one. I'll have to show you because I'm eager to jump on it. I just recently also found out this week that we're going to be dealing with source code, which is a really big deal for me because it's such a big company and they're allowing us to work on source code with their GUI. What we will be doing is looking into ways how we can expand their simple GUI builder. So right now, I believe they just have basic stuff. We're researching other GUI builders, seeing exactly what they have that's different, getting a starting point. But simple features such as, me and my partner have been noticing, simple features such as transparency on buttons. That's a big one. I mean, if you go back, you can see that there's buttons over the thing. Now, they are gray, but that's the default color. I believe you cannot change the color. But you can place an image on the button, and you could actually make it transparent if you want. But that should be something that they have in the code, you know what I'm saying? Visual Studio has something like that, where you could set, or even have an image, a transparent image, clickable, like a button, but they don't have that. It's just a matter of time for them to get there, I'm sure of it. They're basic things. The GUI builder's fairly new, so you know you can't blame them. It's just simple stuff. Like I said, image click should be one. The button transparency, and I'll actually try to go through this. I don't have a transparent image, but I'll show you how easy it is just to get an image on there that would look like a little bit better than this one. The simulation toolkit is really revolutionary. They do have something like this out there already. It is placed within a, it's actually fairly new, but it's in a development toolkit. I was told, I haven't got to look into it, but I heard that this software is twice as better, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't really looked into it. It's fairly all new to me doing this research. For the past month and a half, I'm impressed. I mean, this will change the game for everybody that's dealing with code. Really, if you're able to make a simple state machine, then you're able to create code, and that's like, you know, going to 20-hour assignments every day to just generating code on the fly. It's kind of unfair, I think. It's integration with popular software. I really like that. Not just for the fact that it integrated everything in there, but how much you could actually do with it. It's truly unique. I'm gonna try to show you some examples. Okay. Oh, I guess not. It's over here. Yeah, it's locked.
This one reaches it.
No, it's still connected to the this guy. Yeah, there's probably something. Oh, yeah, maybe that's. There we go. I'll go through the simulation aspect first, and then I'll show you how easy it is to get a decent looking button on there.
What are we gonna see here then?
This is the simulation of a light switch program. What this light does is when a user interacts with the button and they basically click the button, the light goes from on to off every second. If the user presses the button again, it just goes off. Let's see. All right, here's the simulation. Alright, as you see, when I click the button, everything is currently in a red state, meaning that it's waiting to be executed since the program's been launched. So it's waiting for the button to be pressed. See, it's released right now, but when it's pressed, it then sends out to the next, which then in turn does this, after 1 second, tick, which is thrown up there. You'll see as it goes through, how it actually goes through, but after that 1 second, it's actually thrown to the on position or off position, depending on the timing of the tick. And you can see it go through. Like green is, like I said, has already been executed. Yellow is the execution that's right before, and red is current. So as you're going through, you can see that when it becomes to the tick, it actually goes all the way up there. It's kind of hard to show everything, but after 1 second, it gets thrown to the last one, which is the light on and off. And it simulates
the light bulb on the left side off and off.
Yeah, here's the light, here's the button. It's simulating code. Now, let's say you wanted to do a simulation that's the same as this, but change the wording around. I mean, you could change the whole experience for the user simulation-wise. When, let's say, when pressed, instead of this section where it ticks, explain hardware. Like, electricity is sent from the battery to the light bulb, or to a relay where it waits 1 second and sends an electrical pulse to the light for 1 second. And you can show that with the off and on section of it. And essentially the tick would be replaced with the relay at the top. Relay information on how it's actually going through. Again, it's really simple to simulate code. You do have to have a knowledge of code to get the basic usage of this. I'm still not lost, but I'm getting there. I'm learning everything as it comes in. Looking at this, I could see that there's different ways of doing it. Signals at the top, you can actually create these things called signals that are dragged and dropped onto each of these. So you're able to just simplistically throw code to specific state machine parts.
Kind of a very high level where you're dragging code through an object, and for a particular point to have it do what you need it to do to solve the problem. If there was a different application instead of this light bulb, is there something that you have that you can show which is more of a business or
Yeah.
non-trivial kind of thing?
Let's see. I showed that one for the fact that it's simple, not only simple, but we're going to be working with modifying the samples that we're going to be working with, like that one, turning into 3D and making different simulation types.
And the idea behind this product is if you can see it, as opposed to having to have code to make it work, you can see it graphically. It's going to be easier to develop a solution, and then that graphic solution is able to be turned into code.
Yep.
Yeah. 2 examples using the product. When Chuck and I were at a conference that they hosted, we took the existing DMCS system that was developed in traditional
Programming languages.
well, it's just OO modeling and relational modeling. And we took the script for the database and gave it to them. And in, I would say, less than a minute, and we have, Jim, how many tables we have? 40, 50?
A lot, yeah. More
You
than
know,
50.
yeah, I would say, I don't know, somebody mentioned 80 something to me, but lots of tables. And in 1 minute, they provided the entire model that had been put in Visio, which means you hand draw the model. They did all so you could check to see what was correct and what wasn't correct, and you could make changes to it. And then another example, one of the Duncanson, Gary had mentioned the use of the product for telling stories and having visual, was the Fort Hood massacre. Had some deaths in the process when that happened a couple of years ago, and they were trying to figure out, the government said, we have to investigate what went wrong in our procedures that caused people to die. And they used pictures of the incident that happened when the shooter came in, when people were shot, when the paramedics were called and things like that. And what they discovered was, in the military base, once there is a shooting, there is an immediate lockdown, so the person cannot leave. And so they were able to contain the shooter, but they also blocked out the paramedics. So the people that were dying inside could not be helped. And so they had to adjust and, change their policies and procedures on how to handle an active shooter. And they're actually, Homeland Security is doing a whole different scenario base for managing for active shooters. So you would think this is just a code generator, but it's not. It's also simulating stories, and that's all modeling is you take the general story and then you interpret it so that we humans can understand it. So.
Simplistically understanding
Yeah.
code. And anything really, any story that you want.
So this is the Maserati?
I guess so, man. This is another one that they presented. At the time that they presented, I believe they didn't have a simulation for this one as well. I'm trying to find it, I can't seem to see the folder that it's in. But yeah, this one. As you can see left, it's just a simple GUI interface. I believe they were actually trying to just show how you can create simple GUIs with their program. Even based on, you don't even need code really. I mean, if you can diagram something, you could you can place it on there. Like that tick right there. That's a combination of both of the methods that I told you earlier. Image switcher and tick. I mean, every 0.5 seconds switch image. That's all it is. And these are integrated within the system, so you could just go ahead and really drag and drop images and icons. Let's see. Maybe there's another one. I'll let you choose from the list. Professor Weiner, what do you want to see?
Who's that one with the airplane?
About the,
Is that
yes.
Starbuck?
Financial.
Well, we could look at the financial one.
Financial? Check that out.
There was a drone that they had where it shows the drone taking off, looking in the sky for targets, whatever, determine if there was a
Isn't that
target
the
that had to
Starbuck
be
one?
attacked or not, to determine whether it was a real target or it was a friendly. And all of that was programmed through the display, through the dragging and dropping of creating UML. And then the code was generated to cause all that to actually happen.
Let's see how this user interface is going to act. The flashlight was simple to show because they don't had one overview flash showing every one of them. But usually, there's so much data to display, you'd have separate windows to open individually. Thus the tabs at the top. Should be some sort of user interface that should pop up. Let's see. You can see that it did simulate and it's executed. Okay, here we go. So it's console. Maybe the other one was console, I just didn't see it. Or, no, that wouldn't be the case. Okay. Let's see. Let's go through what it actually did. It should have simulated. Let's see if we can input something. Some of these I haven't messed around with at all. It's kind of experimentation. Yeah, I think it just went through. It would have been nice to, let's see if we can slow it down, maybe if we can see it that way. Okay, here we go, now it's gonna slow it. But it didn't really show it at the top. Again, these are the sort of things that I'm working on as an intern. Not only making these 3D, but fixing the bugs. If this is a bug, it might just be my lack of understanding. We did see it go a little bit slower that time. Fairly fast. Animation speed can be controlled by this, so if you want to slow down the process of seeing something, go from the green to yellow to red state. Or I guess it would be red to yellow to green state. Yeah, let's go back to one I can understand. That I wanted to show you guys regarding the image of how we could actually make that one better. This one right here. Now when we started this one, this is actually the one that was presented to us by the brothers when they came here. These functions replicate hardware, so whatever you do on here will be shown in the code. I actually tried this one beforehand. I had been messing with it, so it's not working at the moment. But we're going to focus on the buttons. Let's see. So go to the actual interface. Let's move this pause button out of the way. So you can see that there's memory. I don't know why that would be paused, but it is for now. Let's take a screenshot of the screen, and even in Paint, let's do it in here. Go down to this button. Go to the desktop. Now let's put I believe they call it icon. But this is another cool feature. Within their preferences, you can specify whether you're expert at the tools or just a regular user, standard. Standard doesn't show as much as expert as you would assume. All shows all, but some of them might not apply. So if you're really looking to go with the goods, go with expert. Don't go with all. Treat the custom image. See now that the image is that. And now the image is the button, if you can get it perfectly there. But this is like what I was talking about with transparency images. It would be a lot easier, and if they implemented it, you could do a lot with, especially with 3D images, where you want to see actual background implemented. Just simple things like these that I'm going to be doing as an intern. I believe that's it for my presentation. Is there any questions?
Is that tool commercially available now?
Yeah, it's commercially available to anybody. It's actually a trial version right now at nomagic.com. The software is called Magic Draw, but the simulation aspect is a plugin called Simulation Toolkit plugin, and you would just have to download both those to get that working.
Does it come with code generators too? Or?
Yeah, that's actually, it comes, I believe there's two or three different versions of NoMagic, or Magic Draw. And depending on the one, I believe one doesn't have the engineering and reverse capabilities, but you just have to read into it. I don't remember the names offhand. I think it was Enterprise Edition that had it. Yeah, and I believe that's the only one I can really remember at the moment, but yeah, it's really, really awesome software.
And there's another tool chain from MapWorks called Stateflow that looks like it competes with this, but you have to know all about the MapWorks tool set to do that. So it looks like a good specialized tool though to be able to do state machines.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. I hadn't heard of Magic Draw until about 4 months ago, and I've been researching and trying to find something similar. Like I said, even that one with the gaming, I believe is Unreal Development or something like that, where it actually simulates gaming code. That's the only other that I've heard of. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you might look into, like I said, the Stateflow from the MapWorks, which you probably have licenses for here because of, they have academic licenses here at Purdue, I'm sure.
I have probably 4 or 5 DVDs of the not demo, but the actual software itself for Magic Draw, which
Oh, okay.
I'll get you one before we leave.
Oh, okay.
Are you working just on this area? Are you helping give suggestions for the actual source code itself for the installation of the program?
We're doing samples and suggestions, but we're actually provided, from our understanding, access to the source code, which we're working on with Kerry Mills right now to specify exactly how we're going to do that, because we did sign a confidentiality agreement, I guess you'd call it, and depending on how they're going to do it, we actually, on this laptop, we only have the trial version. Now, another thing is that I can see jar files and Java files that are, users are able to decompile them, and that could be bad to their integrity as a company, because it doesn't stop anybody from going in there, grabbing trial version that's free, taking all the source code, decompiling it, and changing color around, changing the name. I mean, if you make it more secure to them, I mean, like, you could say, hey, I mean, I got it first. Well, what's stopping you from doing that? We're not 100%, we're testing it out, so we could throw it to Carrie Mills as a suggestion of a security improvement. We're not 100% exactly if it's everything or if it's just, maybe they planned on doing something like this because they're going to universities. I mean, we just recently had the brothers come here and donate a generous amount of software for students to look at. I mean, if they're going to go open source for students, I mean, that's excellent, It's a great opportunity for students to look into code that's, top notch, that's developed hard, but I doubt that that's the case, and we're looking into that.
Have you tried installing this on a system that has multiple users by chance?
No, I haven't.
Would you recommend to them that they make it simpler so it can hit all the file directories? Because I've done it in the labs and it's been a fun time.
What was your issue?
Being able to install it so all users on the computer logging in can use it.
That's a good
So
suggestion.
we have that ability, right?
Yes, I had to spend quite a bit of time doing that.
It was a good learning process.
Yes, it was.
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely.
But if they can make it easier, if they're trying to roll it out and get more recognition, a lot of these systems are going to be using multiple users signing into the
Right.
same computers,
Absolutely.
especially at the schools.
Shared folders and everything.
Even in a business environment, that would be a situation.
Yeah.
Well, when we were there, after Barbara and I, we went a couple weeks ago to their office and gave a demo of how certain training can go on with their product and with what we do on our campus. And I guess, the ability of having this software available not only for our department, our students and faculty, but university-wide. So they are interested in letting more than just us as a CITG department use it,
Right.
but rather have marketing, have management, have, engineering, all the different programs on campus that could use UML to solve problems, let them learn how to use it. And we can be a training center for them once we come up to a little more speed with how to use it better ourselves. And then offer either directly on the web, through the web, or face-to-face courses for continuing ed, for business people that want to pick up a different method of developing systems. This is what it's all about.
It looked like a nice program when I was installing, because I had to play with it a little bit to figure out things.
It's very powerful. It's kind of like, not like Oracle, but like Oracle is so complex, you only use how much of it because it's so huge. The same thing can be said for this. It's got a lot of capability.
It goes from pictorial stories to modeling UML, object-oriented diagramming, to actually code generation, and then re-engineering and changing, which makes the situation on all level, but it does not generate applications. That's where it stops.
I was hoping some kind of integration with Visual Studio. I wouldn't think that they would.
I think they
based on-
overlap,
Yeah, they would overlap.
and if you can get rid of Visual Studio and not hand draw, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, to expand upon the source code thing, we were actually told recently that we're going to be, like I said, looking into how to make the GUI builder better. I'm definitely going to shoot that one past them because we also
Please,
have that
thank
security thing we have to tell them. But the aspect of the GUI, if you can see it from here, it's not very recent.
Primitive.
Yeah, very primitive. Compared to Visual Studio, it takes forever to load Visual Studio, but I'd show you guys, this is actually 3 times as long. Everything is general instead of common. The button aspect, simple buttons, just general stuff. We're going to be looking into how we can expand upon what they currently have and go about how we're going to actually code it. Most of their stuff, like I said, is in Java. Actually, I believe all their source code is in Java. And creating something that is the baseline of creating programs, to me, is a very generous offer, just to be working as an intern. I mean,
2 minutes.
working for a company that's actually going to be, in the future, dominating over others, in my opinion, that's awesome. So if you guys have anything else?
Are you gonna model your GUI changes first?
What was that?
Are you
for
going
this-
to model the new GUI changes and the new GUI first using this tool?
Well, I guess you could, but.
Well,
No, I'm asking, what are you
That
gonna
would be
do? I mean,
excellent.
what's the plan?
Oh, what we're going to be doing is giving the tech developers ideas about what we would do and how we'd go about it for the source code thing, and then for the simulation sample, I would be doing more of updating their ones. Like you see the light bulb one. I could easily take a picture of a flashlight on and off with the little on and off thing. Like let's say you take a picture of a flashlight sideways. The top thing goes left and right, left on, left or right off. You can just simulate an image switch where the light is showing bright when it's on, when it's off, when it's on, it's off. Same thing. It's just 3D. I'm creating our own. We actually want to do a tablet, but I'm kind of running out of time.
Robert made a good point, is if you're going to do any modeling and coding, you should use the product to show your model of
Okay.
your ideas.
That's an excellent.
Then you will be able to test your model to see if it's valid before you actually do code generation. So go back to your basic modeling and then development. And then,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyone else? Very good.
Yeah, I know, it's good. And if it doesn't work, then you go back to the model.
Right.
And let the product see. Yeah. It's a changing of thinking, which is, usually you don't have that opportunity to quick change, so,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, Mohammed?
Use the software.
Next presenter is Mohammed Mohammed.
Excellent. I appreciate it.
All right, project.
Good job.
Thank you.